And Daniel, as you've come to this place, you're in the Adelaide Hills, you're serving as an officer in the Salvation Army. Over the last couple of years, particularly since COVID, you're personally exposed to a lot of the needs of a community. Uh, what's personally impacted you over that time, apart from the family isolation and all that settling in?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, what's the things that have struck you?
I think just the sense of community. And again, it's not something we'd had a lot of. So just being able to reach out and really, for me, to gain that understanding of what is the community's needs, and just to hear the hearts of people. So you have conversations with somebody, and it's like, this is something I'm just really in need of at the moment. So to sort of then, I like to not say a no for a no, but a no just means that nobody's found the solution yet. So I push the envelope, and again, I think that's my rebellious side that comes out from those primary and high school days. But also, how do I do that in the right way? So I've really pushed myself to go, okay, somebody needs meals. How can we provide meals in that space? And what does that look like? Who can I network with, or who's already providing it? So I've been able to just throw myself out there a little bit. And I am an extrovert, so that's easier for me to do than I know it might be for some other people. But yeah, I think that exploration for me, just trying to discover who I am now in this different space and bringing a different hat even into it. So, from the person who walks in off the street that just has nothing, and how can I help them and support them in that, to, our church member that just says, actually, times are just tough at the moment. And so, well, what do you need? I just need someone to sit and have a coffee with or something. So that's great. They just want a coffee. This person, needs so much more support. But the reality is they're on very similar paths and very similar.
Does it ever get overwhelming?
Oh, often, very often. And like any industry, there is still paperwork involved. So the pressures are coming from 4 or 5 different directions. We've got teams over us that are saying, we need to keep the finances in track. You need to make sure that, all your paperwork's up to date. Volunteers need 17 different checks and training and everything there. How do you provide that space to being available for, that phone call or that person that might come through the door and is just looking for someone to chat to, to even taking on chaplaincy roles within the community, and little things like that you kind of went 3-4 years ago, I probably wouldn't have even imagined how to go about it. And, now just having to do it. And for me, it's you've just got to get in and do it. And I've learned a big lesson along the way that, sometimes it's okay to say no, which I struggled with, and my personality and my background has just always been, all right, you need something, let's do it. You need something, let's do it. For me to realize, actually, sometimes that's detrimental to me personally, but even to my family and to my line of work. And, that it isn't, if I'm burnt out, if I'm no use to anybody, then that's actually a bigger hole than for me to say no to one thing and find that transition. But I think I've just really enjoyed the community space, and, the way that the community rallied during COVID, that we were able to just support each other through different agencies, whether they were Christian, non-Christian, church, non-church, whatever you wanted to call it at the time. It was just, there's a need for the town. What can each person supply and provide in that space? And that enjoyment that came from that, that engagement came in connecting with people that are hearing a different story. I think at the same time in 2020, it was coming out of the bushfires. So there was quite a lot of people, still searching for what that, looked like for them personally. And hearing some of those stories was, it was a difficult space at the time. But again, my experience back in Rockhampton, where it can get hot and dry, and we'd been through a few bushfires up there as well as floods, that high emergency sort of stakes situations. And so, we wear so many different hats at different times, from an emergency service person who's there feeding the fireys or feeding the support workers, to the next day needing to be, having a lengthy conversation with somebody who's just lost their house. And, how do I go about getting toys? How can I go about new furniture? And working alongside salvo stores to provide what they need, to, sitting at my desk for 2 hours, even though I'd prefer to be out doing something else, knowing that there's paperwork required. We've got to continue with that side of things and make sure that it's right and it's above board, so that we can continue through the support of it to, we lost pretty much all of our volunteers through COVID due to their age, and many other places will say the same thing. But we lost our finance guy probably about 2 months before end of financial year, first year in a core appointment or a church appointment, and we just went, what does this mean? So to be able to jump on the phone and talk to a support network, that just helped talk me through what all that meant. And so my journey has just been a continual development of learning. Again, I'm not the biggest to sit in a classroom and learn, but I do love the idea of continually upskilling myself and, understanding something different, or if I don't understand it, is asking the extra questions. How else can I improve this? How else can I make that better? Or how can I streamline it to make it easier for someone else? So I've always had that strive, and whether that was, for me on the sports field, as a family, or within, my field of work that I'm in at that time, how can I improve things and make it better, has just been something I've continued to push for, and continuing to develop in that as well. So yeah, each week, each day is always something different, and sometimes it's harder, sometimes it's easier. Some weeks I'll feel like I'm twiddling my thumbs in the office and I don't feel right for it personally, but I also know that that's a week I just need to have a rest, because come the next week, 18 things will happen in the first 3 days, and you go, okay, so this is why I had a quiet week last week, and this is why, I needed that break in that space, because everything's just sort of escalated at once in that. So yeah, so I love what I do. The good days, the bad days, I'm probably one of the first up in the house most mornings in that keenness and eagerness to continue just exploring. And again, that correlation, I suppose, even from my days as a refrigeration mechanic, every day was different. You didn't know what the phone call was going to be for what job you were going to go to. And I still feel it's the same today, that, I wake up with a smile on my face going, I wonder what today's going to bring, or what's that exciting story, or who's that person I'm going to sit with today, just to be able to be with them and be able to support them through whatever situation that looks like.
If you had one piece of advice to share with everyone today, what would that be? You've only got a minute.
One piece of advice would probably be, don't be okay with where you're at right now, no matter what that looks like. I think you can always change, you can always improve, you can always develop. So I think if there's one thing you can continue to learn, continue to strive for something.
Excellent. You did that in less than a minute.
Excellent.
Thank you for watching this short clip of Life Bursts. You can like, subscribe, or follow for more, or head to rawcut.com.au.